to another edition of Casey at Night. So just bear with me as I check everything, make sure I'm front and center. Hold on, because the playback takes a second or two. So welcome to Casey at Night. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the hearts kicking in right away. I saw you, Anarchy, aka Ray Sostre. Ray, please forgive me because I've been kind of messing with myself, trying to remember trying to figure out if I'm saying your name right. So I sincerely apologize if I'm not. But allow me, as the hearts pop up, that's your cue. Tap the screen, show me some love. Allow me to stand for a second. Hopefully you can catch some of. I want to thank you, Clean Coochie Beats, for inviting followers. Hey, shout out to you. I'm not sure if you're getting all of this, but my girl GC Elizabeth likes the tutus. She says that tutus and my lipstick make me her spirit animal. And I just wanted to show girlfriend I am expanding the tutu collection. Thinking of you, girl. Thinking of you. So yes, Ray. My pleasure in featuring you. I really, really appreciate you giving me your story tonight. Oh, wait. Okay. So I showed you my tutu. But what I didn't show you, and I got to figure out how to do this right. Let's see. How can I get this? Is my boots. What I like to refer to as my skull boots. I don't know if you're getting this. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. My skull boots with my little spiny heel here, the little, what looks like the knuckle, the joints, the bones in your finger. Yes, love to my skull boots. Love my skull boots. I want to thank Honey for getting me the skull boots because love the skull boots. So anyway, now that I've given you the wardrobe of the day down to the boots, let's get into it as the hearts continue to pop up on the screen. Okay, so last week, thank you for loving my boots, Naughty Mish. Last week we had, where's my notes? Last week we had Letter from Mr. Smith by Alex Palange. Real cute story. If you didn't catch the video, I don't know why, but if you didn't catch the video, the story, the little excerpt we got was the main character randomly gets a letter that is inviting her to pleasure she's never known. And she decides to respond to the letter. And the next thing you know, thank you, lovely. The next thing you know, she finds herself being locked up, hands, legs, pole between the legs to keep the legs wide, and is in a little situation with a husband and a wife who are about to go 50 Shades of Grey on her. Just a little taste of what was about to go down. What I like about that, it's a situation, it's kind of fetishy, kinky, because it's a situation with a stranger. It's a menage a trois. It's BDSM oriented. It gives you a little taste of everything. And I thought the excerpt was great in that you really want to know what happens next. So thank you, Alex. And let me throw Alex's name up here. Alex. And on Twitter, she is the Sensual Game 1. So again, that's Letter from Mr. Smith by Alex Palange, and she is the Sensual Game 1. You know what? I just assumed it was she. I'm so embarrassed if it's actually he. No, it's a she. All right, if I'm wrong, correct me. It's okay. So then today, our featured author is Ray Sostre. Ray Sostre? Ray, again, I'm apologizing because I think I'm butchering your name, and I really don't mean to butcher your name. But on Twitter, he is Anarchy0029. Those are zeros, not to be confused with an O. Anarchy0029 is our guest author, Ray Sostre. Sweetie Cow. Listen, Chi-Town, Ray Sostre, Ray Sostre, is that right? Ray, tell me if I got that right. Sostre and Chi-Town, it's okay. Okay. Okay, we're going to stick with Ray and Anarchy 0029. And I'm going to have to perfect a way of getting y'all with these special last names to tell me how to pronounce your name. Chi-Town, you're going to have to hold your question for another moment, because right now I got to get through the rest of the show. But that's another moment for another time, and I'll track you down and we can talk. So, today I was going to demonstrate, I was going to share with you some of my glass toys, but I decided to do something a little different, something I've done before. And let me set this up by sharing with you some information that I got from an article in Men's Health from February 1st. Men's Health surveyed 2,000 Americans, and what they found out is 40% of those 2,000 consider themselves kinky, which I think a lot of people consider themselves kinky. I think if they've ever been slapped in the ass, had sex with the lights on, had sex outside, they automatically perceive themselves as being kinky. 29% said they would try anal, or that they want to try anal. 24% said they're into role-playing. Role-playing can be anything from, say, just pretending to be the neighbor, the pool guy, the whatever, to actual full-on, say, costume role-playing. And then you had 18% who said that they were going to make anal one of their 2018 sexual resolutions, which I thought was interesting. Why? Because if you watch porn, there's a whole lot of people doing anal. I don't know who this percentage is that says they haven't, but there's a lot of y'all either lying about wanting to try it or haven't tried it, or Pornhub just has been importing in the anal. I don't know. But 14% said they want to become either a dominant or a submissive. So with that 14%, if any of the 14% are listening now, come find me if you are in that I want to be a submissive category. And where do you find me? I'm going to tell you where you find me. You can track me down on Twitter and Periscope at readkccarter.com. I'm sorry, at Read Casey Carter. That's Read Casey Carter. Or, better yet, you find me on Nexocams. www.nexocams.com, and you friend Casey Carter. That's to all of you who'd like to put in your application to be a submissive. I'm more than happy to entertain that. So, anyway, you're a submissive. Well, put in your app. What did I just say? I just said, for all you submissives, friend me. That is your first test. Friend me on nexocams.com. Casey Carter. That is your first task, is to friend me on nexocams.com. If I don't see that by midnight and you let me know what your name is, whether it's Twitter or Periscope, if I don't see it by midnight, I'm not believing that you're a submissive. So again, nexocams.com, and Casey Carter. Excellent. So tonight, since I read that article about in Men's Health about y'all thinking y'all kinky, I thought I would demonstrate something called pervertibles. Pervertibles. What are pervertibles? Pervertibles are household items that you use in the bedroom. Okay, I'm showing it again. Pervertibles are items that are laying around your house that you all of a sudden bring into the bedroom. Nexocams.com. Casey Carter. You bring them into the bedroom, and the next thing you know, they have become a part of your bedroom experience. What does a pervertible look like? Well, pervertible can look like this, a wooden spatula. What would you do with a wooden spatula? Well, you would do with a wooden spatula what you would do with your hand. You're going to spank all over. Okay, wooden spatula. This is a wide wooden spatula with a little bit of a curve on it. I've got a narrow wooden spatula. Again, a little bit of a different feel because it's flatter, it's smaller. Take the other side. Because it's narrower, it's another stinging, biting feeling. Okay. What else do we have? This is a silicone spatula. Silicone spatulas are usually used in baking to scrape the sides of the bowl clean. Well, also good for spanking. What's different is this is going to be a little bit more flexible. So when it makes contact, it makes full-on contact. Gets a little bit, okay, I'm starting to bruise. Gets a little bit of extra on that tap. Okay, yeah. See, when I say it gets a little bit extra on that tap, this is actually starting to bruise me. Then we have a regular spatula. Regular, flip your grilled cheese, flip your burger, flip your fried egg spatula. Again, same thing, but it's going to be a different feel, and it's going to be over a larger area. Why am I pointing this out? Because for those of you who say you're kinky or want to be kinky, but you don't want to be seen at the toy store, you don't want to run, you don't want to order anything from Adam and Eve because you don't know if you're going to like it, and if you're going to waste your money, you don't want to do it. You don't have to. Go up in your kitchen, grab your spatula. Okay. You start, and see, because of the slits in this, the air passes through, so you make a different kind of contact. Very different. Then I've got this, and you're thinking, what the hell is that? It's a pizza cutter. What would you do with a pizza cutter? A couple of different things. After you've, say, warmed up the skin, and right now this pizza cutter is cold. So after you've done your spanking, and that skin is nice and warmed up, probably nice and red, you take something like this with a flat, cold edge, and you lay it on the skin. Or you take this edge here, and you rake it across the skin. And because in this case, it's got a little pointy edge, you're going to rake it across the skin and drag that tip across the skin that you've just stimulated. See, because the spanking brings that blood up to the surface. That's why the skin starts turning red. So now you drag it across that newly tenderized skin. You're going to see different reactions out of your willing participant. Must be consensual. Don't just start peddling people because you had a good idea. Must be consensual. Must. Here is my basting brush. This is also silicone. So again, on this hot skin, yes, no means no. It seriously does. On this warmed up hot skin, you take the brush, the basting brush. I meant to bring my hairbrush. I forgot about my hairbrush, but you take the basting brush. You take a feather duster. You can take the, if you've got mop head replacements, if you've got yarn, you gently let that just drag across the skin. Because again, you're thinking it's too soft, they won't feel it. Don't forget, you just lit that skin on fire. They are going to feel everything that touches their body. Everything. If you blow on that hot skin, they are going to feel it. If you put ice in your mouth, melt that ice in your mouth, and then you blow, the air that comes out of your mouth is going to be cool. You blow that on that hot skin, tell me they're not going to jump a little bit. I promise you. So now, oops, sorry about that. So then, these are my salad tongs. I grabbed these in particular. I had a bunch of different types, but I grabbed these in particular because you see the little gap in there? You can do a few things with these. First and foremost, you can grab a nipple, grab a penis, grab a clit, grab the tongue, and just put that pressure on there. Put the pressure on there. Put the pressure on there. Better than that, my favorite, and I've done this demonstration before, is clothespins. You put a clothespin on different parts of a person's body. Okay, my earrings are on, so they might not stay there. Put a clothespin, let's see if I can, on different parts of the body. And I've got this ribbon for part of this demonstration. This is one of my favorite things that I see on kink.com. So I'm going to try to do this real quick because this can be tedious. These are just regular clothespins. This is a ribbon. This might not work because I can't get a good pinch on the skin. I'm trying, people. Let's see. All right, so what you're going to do, you're going to get yourself like a ribbon, shoestring. If you don't have ribbon, say, Casey, I don't got no ribbon in my house. I'll get shoestring. Pull that joint out of your sneakers and get you some clothespins. I bought mine at the dollar store, so it ain't a huge investment. I know a lot of y'all don't have clothespins. Stop at the dollar store. While you in there, pick up some duct tape, some rubber bands. Okay. See, if I move too much, they're going to pop off. So you put these on, and trust me, you don't have to do it with the ribbon, but it's so much more dramatic with the ribbon. I can't get more on because they're just not grabbing the way I want them to. You put them on, and initially, the pinch on the skin, it is most definitely something you can feel. Most definitely. You let that sit there for a while, kind of marinate, get a good grab on the skin, and go back to doing something else while that's marinating. Eventually, you're going to come back. Now, because this is, say, beginner level, I'm not going to tell you to flick it off with a flogger or anything like that. We're not going to go that far. But the reason why I'm suggesting the ribbon, the shoestring, the lace, whatever you have that can be like this, is because when you're ready and you've got all these pins, and you can do anywhere where you can pinch the skin is where you want to try to put these clothespins on. So like I have one here on my thigh, I've got them here, I've seen them lined up along the ear. You can do it in the arm. You just want enough skin to pinch. And when you're ready, when you think they've been on long enough, because at some point the person wearing them is going to forget that they're there. They will eventually melt into the discomfort, especially if you go to doing something else to their body. So let's say you pin them up in the front, and then you get them, and then you turn them around, and you start spanking their ass. They're going to forget about the pins in the front. They're going to start concentrating on the paddling, right? The use of your wooden spoon or your silicone spatula. They're going to be focused on this. This is what I describe as a thuddy feeling, a thud. That contact on the skin covers a much broader space, so you feel it. You're concentrating on that thud. You're anticipating that next thud when it makes contact. You're like tensed thinking about it. So you forget about all of this. You forget that you've got all these pins pinned to your body. Then, after you've got them all bright red, possibly purple, depends on how much they can take back there, you then make your way back to the pins. And you're going to grab your ribbon, your shoelace, your rope, your yarn, your whatever. Whether you do it from both sides, one side, doesn't really matter. And you yank them suckers off. And that pulling, that all at once, is like the release of a fast moving river. There's a rush that you feel. And I didn't leave them on long enough so you can't really see what it did to my skin. Not really. But the last time I did it, it turned the skin purple. There were pinches in it from where I had done it. Ugh. Crazy. But trust me, try the clothespins. You're going to love it. I've got rubber bands. These are small. The rubber bands I would recommend for the nipples. You wrap the nipples up in the rubber bands. Forget about it. Let that marinate for a little while. If you've got bigger rubber bands, you wrap them around the whole thing. So what am I saying? I'm saying while you're in the dollar store, you pick up a bag of rubber bands. If they don't have that collection with that big giant rubber band, take the time, go over to Staples, Office Depot, get that bag with a variety of rubber bands because they're going to have that big giant rubber band in there. You start loading them suckers up on them. I'm trying to tell you. Some rubber bands on the nipples. Ooh, baby. Oh, no, I didn't forget about the pin on my thigh. I left that there just so that people can look at that and go, what the hell? Yeah, no, I didn't forget about that. Thank you. What else do I have? Okay, talking about using clothespins. Binder clip, also usable on nipple, on the skin. I don't like binder clips because them joints hurt like hell. You have got to be like seriously hardcore to withstand binder clip. Same thing, there's all kinds of little clips. I last time I did this, I had some like my refrigerator magnets. Binder clips are intense, real intense. You got to be well trained, a seasoned professional. And I'm not saying that if you just now getting into the pervertibles that you can't get to a binder clip. You might be badass and start with binder clips. Shit, if you do, send me some pictures. I want to see you using binder clips, okay? And I have, the tie thing, Chi-Town, you're probably right, but about it being underrated. But let me tell you where the reason why I think the perception may be that a tie is underrated is because people do the typical thing with a tie. They blindfold, they tie the ankles, they tie the wrists, and that's all well and good. If that's how you get yourself into that space, I'm cool with that. That's a start, because once I can get you in that space of thinking about using the tie, then I can get you to take off your belt and put the belt around the ankles or around the wrist. Then I can get you to think about taking your shoestrings and taking the shoestrings and wrapping the shoestrings around the breast. See what I'm saying? So the tie all by itself might be, whatever. But it's a jump off to all this other stuff. Like, for example, my printer USB cable. I don't even know what the hell printer this goes to. I found it in my closet in right here in my little studio space. USB, and this is again prime example of what I'm saying about you don't have to go and buy stuff if you don't want to. What can you do with this? You can do all kinds of things with this. This immediately becomes what you can use on wrists, right? You can tie wrists up. You can tie legs up. You can wrap this joint around the breast like I was demonstrating before. Here's another cord. This cord is different. This printer cord and this printer cord aren't even the same. This one's longer. This one's long. And I've got some that are short. Tie them to the bed. Again, stuff laying around your house can become your new do it yourself, as I call it, BDSM kit. There's things all over your house that you can use. Like last time I showed, I got about 5 or 6 of those orange extension cords that you use in the yard. Use them. Okay. All right, so I don't know if you can see this as well, but little bit of purple from taking that off. And that's just a little teeny tiny pinch. Yeah, you probably can't really see that, but I'm telling you, you need to go through your house tonight. If all you do is grab a wooden spoon or a spatula, get yourself started. Just get the feel of what you can do with these items. Other thing that I didn't bring out that I wanted to bring up. If you've got a water bottle and some baby oil, take that water bottle, put it on your partner. Take the baby oil, put it on your partner, get them all nice and oiled up, and then get you that water bottle and spray that spot where you just oiled it up, and you're going to see the water bead up and stuff. And you're thinking, Casey, what is the point of that? I don't fucking know, but they do it to Skin Diamond all the time. So if it's good for Skin Diamond, damn it, it's good for me too. So get you that water bottle, baby oil, lather that skin up, make it look nice and shiny like a freshly baked chicken. Spray that joint, and then go back to the skin contact. See if that doesn't elicit a different reaction. Because every Skin Diamond video I've seen where they started with flogging or paddling her skin dry, then they switch over to skin wet, and you get a little bit more jerk out of Skin Diamond. And I love Skin Diamond because girlfriend can take a whole lot of shit. So again, word for today, my friends, pervertible. P-E-R, wait, hold on. P-E-R-V-E-R-T-A-B-L-E-S. Okay, as soon as I get it right. Pervertibles. That is your word for today. Pervertibles. Please indulge in your household items, stuff in your kitchen, that junk drawer you got in the kitchen, things in your garage. You got some random shit laying all over your house. If you're really feeling freaky, rip the sneaker lace out. Just go at it. Be as creative as is humanly possible while I tap the screen to give myself some more hearts. Okay, my friends. So, before I switch. As you may or may not know, I have the privilege and the pleasure of representing the Velvet Thruster. This is a hot new toy on the market. It is available at thethruster.com. Thethruster.com. And here's what you get. See, that's a big giant box, right? Because it's a big giant toy. And this joint is heavy, to say the least. Alright, so if you've never seen me demonstrate the thruster, I'm going to do that real quick for you now. So the point of the thruster is this. It is, and Lorenzo, yes, I know what I'm doing. Say nothing. Say absolutely nothing. So the point of the thruster is just like it sounds. It thrusts. What's the big deal? Here is the big deal. So basically, while most toys might spin around or they might vibrate, this one actually gives you manual penetration or automatic or mechanical. There's the word, mechanical penetration. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of letting that do its thing. Okay. So we are now maxed out, and according to the manual, this joint will go 140 thrusts a minute. 140 thrusts a minute. Fellas, think about that. You know good and goddamn well you ain't never hitting 140 thrusts a minute. And I'm not even trying to be insulting. I'm just trying to be real. You're never hitting 140 thrusts a minute. In that moment where you are done, you're like, babe, I'm done. Boom, right? And she's still wanting more. If she had a thruster, you'd be okay to take that break, go get that sandwich, maybe take a quick nap, something, I don't know, whatever. But she can be in using this thruster. Or you can pause in your action and use the thruster on her so that you don't ever have to skip a beat. You need a minute to catch your breath, you ain't never got to say it. You don't have to front. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to like catch your breath in the moment of shifting positions. You don't even have to say, you know, you ride, you push. You can just pull out the thruster. You just sit there and hold it. Catch your breath. She ain't never gonna know the difference. She ain't gonna even notice. So, my friends, get yourself a velvet thruster. Website, thethruster.com. Thethruster.com. Tell them Casey sent you. Casey, and they are on Twitter at R Thruster. Tell them Casey was talking about that crazy thruster thing. How much is it? The thruster is $229. Clutching your pearls, get over that shit. The really good toys cost a lot of money. Just be real. I mean, they do, okay? You can and don't misunderstand. I got a whole collection of cheap toys that I love. But the ones that I've actually spent money on, I've like burnt out 2 rabbits. I mean, you know. Well, maybe that's not a good example. But this thruster, I'm telling you, it is by next year this time, I will make sure that this joint is everywhere. Everybody is going to have heard of the thruster. They're going to have seen me doing this with the thruster. Because, I mean, there's no point in demonstrating it if you don't see this action. This is the whole point. This is the point of the thruster. And then the speeds. I mean, come on. How do you not want one of these? I'm telling you, put it on your Christmas list, your birthday wish. Only thing that drives me nuts is you got to catch the right moment to hit that off button. But thethruster.com, get you one. Let them know Casey sent you. All right, now, time for the moment in the show where I give you today's excerpt from Ray, a.k.a. at Anarchy0029. Ray Sostre. I think I got it this time. Ray Sostre at Anarchy0029. All right, so Ray's story is called A Thrill-Seeking Relationship. And before anybody says it, yeah, I know, my iPad's upside down, which means you've never flipped your iPad upside down to know you can do that. I'm just saying. So, thank you, Ray. Good. I'm glad I finally got that right. So, hearts for Ray. Tonight's story, A Thrill-Seeking Relationship. Let me sit back in the chair a little bit. Get myself looking right. Think I'm gonna cross my legs a little bit. Here we go. Joanna couldn't answer, but she moaned yes. And she had a group of willing men that she wanted to fuck her. The joy of having 3 hard dicks to herself was thought to only be a dream, but not no more. She was in the woods, having all 3 hard cocks to herself. all by herself, all meant for her. Jean said to Lauren, I want to watch you fuck her. Take her. Give it to her fucking deep. Yes, that was exactly what she needed. A nice hard cock shoved right inside her. She felt herself being laid on her side by Lauren, while Jean stood by and stroked himself. Lauren shoved himself deep inside, making a loud, squelching sound. Her leg was raised up by his, and she turned to face Pierre, who had a determined look on his face, holding himself in his hand. She took him back in her mouth while she took a delicious fucking by Lauren. Her eyes managed to meet with Jean's, who was stroking himself vigorously with a delighted look on his face. He indicated by his enjoyment by watching, but Joanna was enjoying what most women dreamt of, having a threesome and a foursome. The memories of last night were coming back to her, but this time it was even better. Each of these men were going to take turns with her, and no matter how long it was going to last, she was going to enjoy every moment of it. She felt one of her breasts being grabbed by Lauren as he pushed into her deeply. He groaned in pleasure. His thrusts were deep. Lauren pumped her with both speed and determination, while her moans increased. She loved how her body shook from his thrusts, the way her tits wobbled while the men groped her. She wanted more, much more. Lauren's cock was pushed so deep she could feel the tip of him hit her cervix. She fucking loved it. Then he slowed himself inside her and pulled out. The men switched positions, so she was lying on her back, with her legs parted as Pierre positioned himself in front of her. Both Jean and Lauren were kneeling side by side, anxiously waiting for Joanna to take them back into her mouth. She felt her legs being held by both Jean and Lauren. Pierre entered her. He pounded her hard and fast, all the way to the hilt. Then he fucked her, sending waves of delicious pleasure through her body. She was filled with pure excitement. The way Pierre bucked in and out of her pussy, she loved the sound of his hips slamming against her thighs. Fucking wonderful. The men had let go of her legs, and Pierre grabbed hold of them. His thrusts were deep, balls deep. She relished the pleasure of his balls slapping against her pussy. Her body was tilted to the side, where Pierre held on to one of her legs and pounded her with furious need. Her mouth was full of Jean's cock, while Lauren fondled her breasts with his hand, stroking himself. She was in a sea of sex with these men. Joanna fucking loved it. She loved the way these men used her body, but how they used her body was not only for their pleasure. They were giving her the same. When Pierre pulled out of her, the three switched positions again. This time, it was Jean lying next to her, motioning her to move closer. He shoved his cock inside of her in one full motion. Joanna let out a gasp. Jean didn't have the words to tell her, but the way he shoved himself indicated something more intimate, and she was already familiar with the way he pushed inside her. Unlike the way Pierre and Lauren pushed themselves inside, Jean's thrusts were slow and deep, deliciously deep. The way he growled was also erotic. She was relieved to have him back inside her again. He held her leg up in the air with his, shoving his cock in as deep as he could, while Lauren's mouth latched onto her clit. Her mouth again was filled by Pierre's cock, licking off the flavor of herself at the same time. Jean fucked to full satisfaction. He slowed his thrusts from time to time, but he maintained his stamina as he was inside her. Then he pulled himself out of her and placed the tip of his cock against her tight hole. Joanna braced herself for his sudden entry. There wasn't any lube, but she was so wet from the men fucking her. When Jean pressed in, she was able to receive him without too much discomfort. Of course, Joanna howled and hissed at the sudden pain of his entry, but she was able to get used to his size very quickly, and the pain soon morphed into wonderful pleasure. She felt him work his size and her ass entirely. Her mouth was full of Pierre's cock, added with the wonderful eroticism of Lauren's licks. She didn't care at all. She was in a sea of pleasure. Jean continued to pump her tight entrance. Lauren had moved away and began caressing her body, while Pierre pulled himself out of her to stroke himself. Then, without realizing, she felt Lauren's fingers moving over her nub. His fingers were thin, not calloused like the rest of the men, but she felt his thumb pressing around her nub. Jean's thrust had picked up some speed. Lauren continued to circle his fingers around her nub, which caused her to buck from the pleasure. Her body moved along with the men's movements until she felt the intense pleasure grow inside her body. "Oh, fuck," she bellowed. Joanna had lost all sense of herself as she felt one amazing orgasm that ripped through her entire body. "Oh, fuck, I'm coming." This was no ordinary orgasm, she felt, but a more amazing one, being that Jean was inside her ass while Lon masturbated her with his skilled fingers. It was the kind of orgasm that shred her body and put her back together like a new person. As she came back down from her orgasm, Joanna's body was suddenly limp with pleasure. At this point, her body surrendered to whatever the men were going to do to her. Then, Jean shoved his cock in her ass as deep as he could. He pressed so deep and then pulled out of her as he growled at her with words that lit up the paper. "I'm ready to come in you." Oh, yes, is what she thought to herself. She was ready to receive his full pleasure. She was still limp from the wonderful orgasm, but they all managed to switch positions where Jean was lying down, and Joanna positioned herself to sit on top of him. The men stood up to help her lower herself on top of him. His cock was engulfed inside her. Joanna let out a deep moan as she moved herself up and down on him. She leaned her body back while Lauren and Pierre stood side by side, holding themselves in their hands, watching Joanna get pummeled by Jean. Her clit was sensitive, but she didn't give a shit when Pierre caressed her little hot button. Joanna met Jean's thrust while she took turns taking Pierre's and Lauren's cock in her mouth, sometimes all at once, since she was hungry for more. His thrust moved very intensely. Joanna could feel him on the verge of coming. He was hard, solid. She wanted to milk him. When he came, she wanted to hear him scream, to give him the most delicious torment ever. She wanted to feel his release. Jean's howls sounded intense. He was trying to straighten himself inside her, but Joanna kept moving herself up and down his shaft until he bucked and cried out in sheer pleasure. She stopped moving, savoring his intensity inside her, the way his cock twitched in her pussy as she felt the hot cum burst inside. Oh yes, very hot. Jean pushed himself as deep as he could so she could feel every inch of his pleasure. His pants and grunts described how intense his orgasm was, and Joanna loved every moment of it. He was the natural vibrator that had gotten her really hot. It was very euphoric, the kind of pleasure that would stay etched in her mind, and his cock continued to pulsate until his breathing slowed and evened out. Then Jean moved himself inside her to let out any remnants of his cum inside her. When he pulled out of her, Joanna's pussy was a sticky hot mess. Jean was spent. His cum may have leaked out of her, but Joanna wanted more. More cocks. More cum. Nothing but more inside her. She wanted the men to use her body and fill her with nothing but hot pleasure. She hadn't been this sexually charged for a long time, and she was ready for more. Hey, Ray! Thank you for that wonderful story. A thrill-seeking a thrill-seeking relationship by Ray Sostre. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Ray, for clarifying. This is Risque Pleasure, book 2 to the series. If you haven't already seen my promos for tonight's show, the book cover, thank you. The book cover with the full title and image is in my promo for the week. I will be tweeting the book cover after the show. You are so welcome, Ray. You are so very welcome. Thank you so much, Ray, for letting me read your story. Again, that was a thrill-seeking adventure. A thrill-seeking relationship. And I want to thank all of you. I want to thank you for sitting through the story. I know I saw some messages pop up. I didn't catch them because I was all in the story. Sorry. So when I do my read back, I will check out your comments. Chi-Town, please stop asking me that. I'm glad you enjoyed the story, but please stop asking me that. Thank you, Ray and Casey. Thank you, Rock Climb. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate that compliment. Thank you, Chi-Town. I appreciate the respect. So, again, I want to say thank you to last week's author, Alex Palange, for a letter from Mr. Smith. Alex is at the Sensual Game 1 on Twitter. Tonight's guest, back at you, Rock Climb. Tonight's guest, Ray Sostre, Anarchy 0029, with a thrill-seeking adventure. How do you find Casey? Well, next week, I don't have the title to the story, but next week's story is brought to you by Carla Signora. Carla Signora. And Carla Signora is Carla69 Signora at Carla69 Signora. That is the next week's featured author. You can find, hold on. This month, I will be releasing my latest story, which is The Big Date. I'm very excited about this. As soon as I get it back from the editor, I will give you a more definitive release date. I should be getting it back next week. But my next story is The Big Date. Speaking of next stories, you're saying, Casey, you've got stories? Yes, bitches, I got my own stories. Why do you think I'm doing this? You can find my stories on Amazon, but the easiest way to find my stories is to go to my website, www.caseycarterbooks.com, www.caseycarterbooks.com. You can also reach me at caseycarterbooks@gmail.com. Don't send me no dick pics. I will totally trash you if you send me dick pics. As a matter of fact, I have a girlfriend who collected dick pics, made a book out of it, and sold it. So if you send me a dick pic, I'm sending it to her for her next volume of dick pics. But anyway, go to the website, www.caseycarterbooks.com, to see a whole list of these stories that I've written. Coming in March is The Big Date. I will let you know what the release date will be. I'll have an idea, I think, sort of next week, by the next week's show. So I'll let you know. What else? Okay, on Instagram, I need you to follow me. If you're not following me on Instagram, you need to be following the Casey Carter Experience on Instagram. The Casey Carter Experience. That is me on Instagram. If you're following me on Twitter, you need to be Okay, for those of you who are here on Periscope and Twitter, I am at Reed Casey Carter. At Reed Casey Carter. That's my Twitter handle. On Instagram, I am the Casey Carter Experience. The Casey Carter Experience. And on www.nexocams and on Facebook, I am Casey Carter. Friend me in both locations. Friend me on Facebook at Casey Carter and friend me on Nexocams, www.nexocams.com at Casey Carter. And one last thing, if you don't know, I got like 50 million things I'm trying to do, right? So on Friday, 3 to 5 Eastern Standard Time, I do a sports show. I co-host a sports show. My co-host is James Acevedo. He is on Twitter at YankeeMan1973. The name of the show is the Benchwarmers Live Show. We basically talk sports and entertainment. The first hour, we're usually talking sports. The second hour, we're usually doing something with someone in entertainment. If perchance we get a sports person, then we're talking sports in that second hour. But oftentimes we have someone usually in the adult entertainment field. Yeah, now your ears are perked up. So from 3 to 5 on Fridays, catch me and my co-host, James Acevedo, at YankeeMan1973 on Twitter. I don't have his stuff written down for all them other places, but at YankeeMan1973 on Twitter. The name of the show is the Benchwarmers Live Show. It is on EAR, Elite Access Radio. I'll be tweeting that as well. It'll also be on Instagram and Facebook. I do something during that show called Casey's 2-Minute Warning. What is Casey's 2-Minute Warning? Casey's 2-Minute Warning is where I'm sorry, I'm just checking my time, is where I talk about various topics in 2 minutes or less. And basically, it's not even that I'm like reporting anything as much as I'm discussing something that I found interesting, that I thought was stupid, that I don't understand, that I just want to have a comment about. And so it may be some of the things we talk about in our sports hour, it may not. And it's just me kind of rapid firing through several topics, kind of like, excuse the interruption, yes. So catch our show Friday, 3 to 5. In the meantime, hold on because I dropped my audio. So, I'm back. In the meantime, I want to thank you all again for being a part of tonight's show. I would have no show if you did not show up. So, thank you for being here with me every Wednesday. Thank you to who, and I apologize, I did not get a good look at your name in the beginning, but I want to thank that person that invited people to the show. I didn't even know you could do that, so I just learned something new. I got to figure the fuck out how to do that, so I can encourage other people to do that. So I want to thank you. I also want to thank you because, see, this is why I need a stage help, right? I want to thank you because in the last month, you guys have been great at the live viewing. My numbers have skyrocketed. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you that has shown up, to each and every one of you that has told a friend to show up. I don't know what the hell Periscope is doing that has people there when I come on. Even when I do my little test setup, people show up just for like me being on the air for no more than 10 to 20 seconds. So I want to thank all of you. I want you to know I appreciate you. That, again, couldn't do this, wouldn't be able to do this if you weren't showing up every week. And just in case you're wondering, why am I playing that music? Because it's my theme song, bitches. It's called Late Night Encounter, Casey Carter's theme song. So as I say every week, I love you like a fat kid loves cake. Bye.